G'day trendsetters, Steve here from Langshore Power. Just wanted to show you what we're going to be doing here today with the GX Tank 140 and one of these submersible tank sensors that we've got here. This guy here measures to up to 1 meter. You can get different depths, depending on the tank size you need. But that submerses into the water tank, and I've got myself a 2 litre milk bottle there. That's going to be our test tank for today. And I'm actually setting a system up here for a customer, and they've requested potentially going with these tank sensors. So sort of give you a run through and show you how I would perhaps do it, and show you the setups on the screen. Now, the first thing, you probably want to go down to Bunnings and get yourself one of these. That's a tap adapter for a water tank. So that screws into the side of your water tank, pokes out, and you screw a tap on. What you want to do is throw most of it away. I need 2 hands for this, don't I? 3 hands, one to hold the phone. I would normally, what I've done in the past is just kept this bit, right? Rubber washer and the end. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pass the cable through here, so that obviously that's going to go to the side of your tank or on top of your water tank. Bring the cable through and then grab one of these. That's a standard 20mm gland. That guy will screw in there. You could put a bit of thread tape on just to help with any water dribbling around the threads. And then that guy there, you can just make a 27mm hole to pass that end of it through into the tank and screw that over the top of the hole. Bit of sticker on there if you so please, but I found, and do it at the top of the tank, don't do it down the bottom. Do it at the top where you've got obviously less water pressure. So that's just on how to maybe put the thing in. What we want to look at today really though is this guy here, and you can see this thing here has channel 1, 2, 3, 4. Channel 3 and 4 have a built-in power supply. That's what we're going to use today. If you've got more than 2 tank sensors, then you would need to use the other 2 channels. And you can bring 12 or 24 volts into this external connector here. Now, you'll get a little packet of these plugs, obviously, when you get the tank sensor. Now, that's got a USB lead on there, and that's going inside here. There's a Servo GX living inside this box, and that's what's running our color screen. And so that's our standard color screen that we would normally be operating with. And we're going to tap on menu, and we're going to go settings. I need to do this, settings, and then we want to go display. And we've got one here that says show tanks overview. So we're going to tap on that guy, switch it on. Now when we go back to menu, back to pages, we get a new screen. Says no tanks found. So we're going to work on that. We go menu. Now we're going to go settings. We're going to scroll down to I/O. I/O is input output. We're going to go for analog inputs. And now we can see that it's communicating with the GX tank input 4, 3, 2 and 1. Now over here we know I'm not going to use 1 and 2 because they've got the external power supply. I can use either 3 or 4. Let's pick channel 3 for today. So let's turn on input number 3, and let's turn on input 4 as well, just for fun. Okay, so we can go back to that. Now if we scroll up, not much has changed there, but if we go back to devices, go back, I tapped on general by mistake, go back to device list. Do you see there's one I've already labelled previously? It's remembered, because I thought I'd wiped it, but it didn't. It's remembered the one I've said as fresh, and then there's another one written as fuel tank. I did talk to the manufacturer. They have said don't use them on diesel. Something to do with the cable. I guess it will get eaten away by the diesel. That's a bit disappointing. So the top one we will use for fresh, and the other one you might want to set up perhaps as a black tank. So we can go into setup, fluid type, and we're going to change it to wastewater. Let's call it that. and the default is 200 litres. We can change that, but we're not going to mess with that one. We're going to go to fresh because that's the one we're working on. It says there's an error. That's okay. Now, I'd already gone in here. I was hoping that I had cleared all that when I wiped its brain, but it didn't happen, so it's remembered. Tap on capacity, and then you can do the up down. And I've got a 2 litre water bottle, so we're setting that for 2 litres. And there's some sensor values there that we need to set. And so we're going to have to calibrate this thing so that we know what's the top of the tank when it's full, what's the bottom of the tank when we're empty, and we're going to set what the sensor values are. So the other end of this lead off the sensors, I've already hooked onto the little connector. If you have a look here, there's a red and a black wire, and then it tells you on there actually a 24 volt on the left, in, and then ground. Ground is actually, there's a sheath up inside of there, a bit hard to see. You've got a red and black, so red is power, black is the sense or in, and then a ground would go on there to ground that shield, but I accidentally cut it off when I trimmed it. There's a red tube, that is a little breather tube to atmosphere so that it can obviously measure pressure differential, and all these little clear bits are just fillers to keep the cable nice and round. So this guy here, I've already clicked the wires on. I'm going to poke it in. Excuse fingers. There we are. So that's plugged into the GX Tank 140. Now we come back over here. At the moment, the sensor is out of the water, so we'll consider that the empty position, dead empty. And currently the sensor value says 4 milliamps. So that's telling us what is the pressure reading right now. Sensor value when empty, I've got 4.2, so we could drop that down and hit the tick. And then we want to register when the sensor is full. So we want to know what that value is going to be. So what we'll do, let's come over here. Oh, there we are. So we're full tank of water other than what I splashed out. And what we want to know is what is the sensor value right now, 7.7 milliamps. Before I spilled a bit of water, the sensor value was actually 7.8 earlier on when I did my first practice run. So let's change that, 7.7. Now, so we've set our sensor when empty, sensor value when full by looking at the sensor value at those positions. We've set our capacity type. The other thing we didn't do is we set our capacity, we didn't do sensor type. Now, it can be either a voltage or current. I think default was voltage, but these are a current sensor. Current transducer, not a voltage transducer. So we've set for current. Otherwise, it would be looking at a voltage coming back rather than a milliamps of current. So we can go back now and we can go to status. And it says, okay, and we're at 100%, 2 litres remaining. 99% close enough. Bit hard when you only got, you know, a milk bottle full of stuff. Now, accidentally tapped the screen then, didn't I, when I was moving things? I wanted to bring it over here. Anyway, so let's go back to menu, fresh, fresh. So we're at 99. So what we'll do, I'll hold that on there and I'm going to raise and lower to simulate water emptying out of our tank. So I can get that to line up right for us. Okay, so I'm going to pull the sensor out to around about halfway. Now, you can see it counting down because it's got a 10-second setting in there for what it registers. So it reads it every few seconds. So you're never going to empty a tank that quick. So at the moment, that's showing 43%. If I pull it right out, I'm just out of the tank now. Slowly counting down. 0% shows us how many remaining litres. If I go halfway, oh goodness me, the old focus is a bit, there you go, and there we are. Saying we've got 1 litre remaining, 47%. I'll pop that all the way in. So now back on the main screen, so we've got our tank there. It's slowly showing filling up because I've just dropped it back to the bottom of the tank. So we're back to 100%. And again, if I lift him out, I'm at about 1/3 of a tank there maybe. %. There we are. Not a bad guess. So there you go. That's tank sensors at work. And I think they're a pretty good device. Oh, excuse me. I'm getting a bit old and crippled. Getting up and down is not easy. So there you go. So that's how we add the tank screen to our colour display. How we go through and set up the sensors. How they hook in there. And as I said, this guy comes with a lead and it simply plugs into the USB port of the Turbo GX. Let's have a